one of the terms you use the term myth in describing these ancient creation stories, and also apply it to to the first 11 chapters of Genesis. And when a lot of people hear the word myth, they immediately think of a made up story. How are
Right.
you using that term?
I make it very clear in the book that I'm using the word myth in the sense in which it is used by students of folklore and classical literature to talk about a traditional sacred narrative that is regarded as authoritative in a society that seeks to ground present realities and institutions and values in events in the primordial past. And I think you would agree that Genesis 1 to 11 fits that description to a T. And so I'm not using it in the popular sense where we talk about the myth of the low calorie diet or the myth of the self made man. I recognize that the use of a word like this is potentially misleading, but I believe, Jeff, that as scholars, we need to be straightforward with our people, with our laity, and not try to mince words and use euphemisms as some Old Testament commentators and scholars do. But rather, we ought to be straightforward about what we're saying and then define our terms very carefully so as to preclude misunderstanding. And that's what I try to do. The view that I'm laying out in the book is actually not uncommon among Old Testament scholars, people like Bill Arnold at Asbury Seminary, or John Walton at Wheaton, or Gordon Wenham in his commentary on Genesis, but they just don't use the same terminology. They use euphemisms like proto-history or imagistic history, where I try to use the technical terminology that is actually used by students of ancient Assyriology for this kind of literature.